Hello, welcome back to another episode of Litigation Speaks. I'm Richard Claywell, and today I want to talk to you about doing on-site visits when you do a business valuation. I'm often asked, why do you need to come out to my company and interrupt my entire operations just to talk to me? Well, the business valuation process includes doing an on-site visit. This is in all the professional standards, so this is something we need to do. If not, we're going to be negligent in doing the valuation process. It's a pivotal point because it provides a lot of information to me as a business valuator that I'm not going to get from the financial statements or any other operational type of documents that may be out there. What this allows me to do is to verify different types of items. On the financial statements, for example, you should have a detailed depreciation schedule. So we can go out there, we can take that depreciation schedule and look at the assets that the company has, and we're not going to audit or do every one of these things, but the equipment that they rely upon primarily, is it there? Is it on the depreciation schedule? Is it on premises? If not, where's it at? And can we verify that it's there and it's in an operational condition? So those are things we want to take a look at. When we go out there, we do want to take a look at how the company is operating with the employees and management. So we get an idea of what's happening with the interaction between the employees with each other. We get an idea what's happening with the employees interacting with management, and we can get some idea of what the culture is of the company. We have risk assessment that we want to take a look at. This is interesting. I'm going to tell you a story real quick before I get into the risk assessment. We did a valuation a number of years ago, and I'm out there at this guy's site, and what he does is he refurbishes batteries, which is fine. He's telling me the process that he goes through to refurbish the batteries. And being kind of inquisitive, I asked the question, well, what do you do with the old battery acid that you take out before you put the new battery acid back in? And my thought process is he has a company that comes by and picks up the battery acid. He said, well, I'll show you what we do with it. So he takes me out to the back of his warehouse. He has a real small ramp where you can drive a truck or a car into the garage area. The grass, really, really cool grass. Every color in the rainbow. What this guy is doing is he's taking this old battery acid, he's taking it out to the back and he just dumps it in the backyard. So it looks like a big, huge rainbow out in the back. That's how he disposes of the battery acid. Interesting part about that was we were almost complete with the valuation. As I was driving back to the office, I called the attorney that had engaged us and I explained this to them. The last we heard about that particular valuation, it was never done. It never completed. So the site visit allows us an opportunity to see what's really going on with the company that we don't get in the financial statements, operating agreements, your bylaws, your email, well, maybe your emails, but it's not going to give you the impact of the colorful rainbow in the grass that you've got. We also have occupational hazards and regulatory compliance issues. When we went to a company one time, they were doing some manufacturing and they had to do some drilling, and they had a small room set up, not real small, it's a sizable room, but had guys in there working, and they were using really, really loud equipment. And the thing that drew my attention to these guys was they're in this room all day long, loud noises, no hearing protection or ear protection. So is that a violation of OSHA? What are the potential lawsuits coming down the road for this particular company because of the hearing problem? Again, you don't get that out of the financial statements that you're looking at. Tell you another little story about what happens when you go and do an on-site visit. We valued a company one time that manufactured paint, that made paint, and they did it for the aftermarket car dealerships. So the paint had to be exact to match what was actually put on the cars or trucks. So again, being real inquisitive, I asked the question, what do you do with the paint that doesn't meet your specs, that you really can't sell? They had a large back area, and there was a wooden fence at the very back that separated the property. They would just walk over, take the buckets of paint that they had, and they would just pour it in this other guy's backyard. Not a real good idea. But again, I called the attorney on the way back after doing the on-site visit. That was the end of that particular engagement. So we never completed that particular engagement. We had another one. To me, these are just kind of interesting. This gives you a flavor for what winds up happening, why we need to do the on-site visit. Had a small garage that we were in the process of valuing, and what they did was they rebuilt engines. So when the ladies are not going to understand how this works exactly, because they just don't rebuild engines, so they don't see the complexity of what's going on. So what winds up happening is they put this car into a garage. They take the motor or the engine out of the car. Well, then they've got to tear the motor apart piece by piece. Well, as you do that, you clean it. Sometimes you use gasoline, you use other components for that. And normally what you have is a service that comes by and they pick up this waste that you've got. And then they dispose of it. They give you a certificate that you disposed of it, so now you're meeting all the EPA requirements and that sort of thing. So I asked the guy, what do you do with the materials that you use to clean the gunk out of a car? So where his business was at, there, if you looked at the streets, there are small areas out there where they're drainage from the street to go down into the drainage system. He just goes out to the drainage system in the street, public street, in a major town, and he just pours his waste down into the drainage that goes into the city water drainage system. Again, that was the last of that valuation. We never completed it. We want to look at the environmental and locational insights of the particular company. Where is the business located? How easy is it to get in and out of the business? Is it in a affluent area, or is it in an area that's kind of depressed from an economic standpoint? And I'll tell you a story that I did one time for that. Was the guy called us, we went out there to take a look at his business, and when we got there, first thing I noticed was he had a real large 8 or 10 foot cyclone type of fence. You could see through it. And at the top of the fence, he had concertina wire. And if you've ever seen a World War II movie, they show these POW camps, you see this round wire that's up there. He had that around his entire business. So I'm thinking, this is not a good place to be. Come to find out, it was not. It was a real high crime area. But I drove my car into his parking lot, and I was really concerned about driving in there because he had potholes that I'm sure would swallow my car, and I had to literally dodge potholes to get into his parking lot. We did do the valuation, and that information was included in my report. So conducting an on-site visit is not just a matter of I go out there, hi, how you doing? Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's chat a little bit. That's not what it is. What's really going on, and what can you find out about the company that poses risk for the company? Because that risk is going to affect the value. The higher the risk, the lower the value. The lower the risk, the higher the value. So that's really what we're looking for, is the risk associated with running the company. So that's what we're looking for when we go out and we do an on-site visit. We find those risks, and we consider that when we actually do the business valuation. So those are items as some examples of what should be done when you do an on-site visit. This should be done on every valuation that is done. If an on-site visit is not done, you need to find out why. And what happens a lot of time in a litigation case, the opposing side does not want you to go out there and talk to anybody. And that's fine. Well, it's not really fine, but what we wind up doing is we disclose and we requested that be done. And the attorney I'm working with has asked the opposing attorney. I will mention the opposing attorney's name and the client's name, that they have refused to let us go out there and do whatever it was that we needed to have done. So I know it needs to be done. I'm asking for it to be done. Nobody's allowing me to do that. I'm going to tell you that it's your fault that I didn't go out there. It's not my fault because I wanted to do that. So these are things that should be done when you do an on-site visit. If you have any questions on doing an on-site visit, feel free to contact me. Would ask that you subscribe to Litigation Speaks. If you have any questions on this topic or any other topic related to business valuations, feel free to get in contact with me. See you next time. Thank you.